Hey AJ, what do you think of this thumbnail, man? What do you think of this thumbnail, AJ?
I don't know. It's got some. That's a terrible AJ. A minus.
It's not metal enough. should be more metal. Be better with metal. This is so dumb.
Put 2 aim controllers on it. He'll give you an A plus.
Hell yeah, man! Next one for sure. Let's get this show started. This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on PSVR without Parole, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's what you're here for. Well, that's what we're here for. I don't know, it's just some people just wandering off the street. I have no idea what they're doing here sometimes. Mine is Brian Paul from PSVR without Parole, and the guy to my right, Dave from Daystation, but BBBBBBBBBBBR.
It feels so weird not being one of the boys. I'm just the guy.
You're the other guy.
And I can't be just the boy. Like, and the boy.
The boy.
Boy.
Be very...
Yeah, I don't know.
Be a little bit strange, I guess. AJ's a little under the weather today. Not going to make it to the show. I have a feeling we're probably going to see him in the chat, but we'll see how that all goes down. I think that this is a pretty nice representation of him in place of actual AJ.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Now, this is from someone in our community. It's got to be, right? Is this Imzadi or who drew this one? Because I know she drew one recently.
No, this is... I swear I know it. I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. No, it was an awesome cat that used to be part of our community all the time, and then she's not around that much anymore. So, and I'm sorry. It's like I try to remember all of you, and I just can't. So anyway, Dave, this is going to be kind of a laid back Gamescast Live. I kind of like that.
I could pull that off. Nice. I'll just chill.
Excellent. Hey, guess what? AJ's in the chat. He says, I'm fighting a mutant virus out in space. The good news is I'm on a lot of drugs, and I think I'm winning the battle. Drugs will make you think all sorts of things, including
good news,
including the fact that you're winning the battle.
I beat Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was really conked out on cough syrup.
Wow. Okay.
Because I had a super bad cold, and I was just super zonked out of my mind on cough syrup.
Bad.
And it was even weirder than it ought to have been, given that situation, Metal Gear is weird to begin with, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
This is true. I don't think anybody knows what's going on, especially at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. I do like that Jay Meow in the chat said AJ is sick because Impulse Gear didn't make Farpoint 2.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible.
I definitely think it's possible.
So we can rant a little bit on his behalf today. Okay. Because I know he'd be shaking his fist here if he could be with us.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the... You know what? Arlen Theodore with the $5 tip says, hello, Gamecats.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The person who pretends to be my friend. I mean, I'd love to be your friend, man, but I just don't think it's you. You're way too nice. I've known you for a long time. You were never that nice. But hey, maybe you are. We'll see. Dude, one of the things that Donnie in the Discord said today that hit me at just the right time, because I've been thinking about all the things that have sort of fallen by the wayside and things that are very important to me as far as this community goes, as far as this channel goes, as far as this show goes. And, we were like, oh, well, when we switch over to 3 days a week, we'll have plenty of time to integrate more viewer takeover questions into the mix. And we're like, I think we've done pretty good about that. And, today's going to be mostly viewer takeover stuff. The thing we haven't been good about is all the Gamecat name changes, right? We stopped telling people to change their name to Gamecat every week. People stop changing their name to Gamecat every week, and then we don't shout out anybody out. And so it's kind of like this cyclical thing where it's like we don't tell anybody to do it, it's not going to happen, and then we don't do it anymore. And I don't like that, man, because the Gamecat name is the heart and soul of this community, right? It's just it's so important that we all identify as Gamecats or game something, game dogs, game wolves, game lions. There's plenty of you guys out there, and so we want to be able to bring that back. And so make sure that you put hashtag Gamecat in the comments, not the live chat. I'm not going to be able to search the live chat, but in the comments below, if you change your name on YouTube to something other than what it is, to something the Gamecat or something Gamecat related or adjacent, I'm gonna find a way to make that happen on Streamlabs. I don't know how to do it, but I will figure it out. I promise you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Your long shadows with the 50 Nokia phones says chicken soup money. Feel better, AJ. Definitely no hunger strike over Farpoint now. Yeah. For sure. But yeah,
so Daddy Longlegs, real quick. This is a little housekeeping. We always talk about the Discord, right? The Discord. Come join the Discord. The link is in the description, and I'm sure Brody will post it in here. But Daddy Longlegs says, hey, for some reason, it won't let me join the Discord. Well, here's the thing. You have to do some dual-factor authentication with your phone to get in there. It's a security measure to keep the trolls out, because we had a few trolls coming in. So, if you're out there, Disney Dollar Dave,
we just want to make sure that like people who that we can not only protect ourselves but also protect all of our community, and if somebody's impersonating somebody else, well, we need to be able to make sure that guy leaves and doesn't ever come back, and that's what phone verification does for us. So sorry if it's been a hassle, but I'd rather protect 1,000 people when it comes down to that. It's just it's not fun, and I apologize for it.
Ooh. Jay Meow in chat says he finally got his Gamecat sweatshirt, and it's really nice. He likes it a lot.
Oh, that's awesome! You got to send me a picture, and maybe
we'll throw it up on screen. Yeah, show it off.
Right.
I want to see what it looks like.
Put you in AJ's place, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The
sweater can be the new AJ.
Speaking of Discord, man, like we're gonna kick off this show with this. Okay, so you guys probably saw the thumbnail or the title of this video. Is will PSVR2 bring VR gaming to the mainstream? And I think that's an important question. I think that's an important thing to happen this upcoming VR gen. And I don't know if we have any question on the run of show that asks that specific question.
Oh, so you lied to get people in the door. This is clickbait. You're saying it's clickbait.
Obviously.
Gotcha.
I think though that if we look at these questions and we answer all of them, I think collectively all of these questions will answer that question ultimately. I think
by the end of the show, you should go back and change the title and thumbnail to be about Larcenauts, because everybody's asking about Larcenauts.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to spend a decent amount of time talking about that.
Yeah, that is the second question in the run of show. So
excellent.
So, but kicking it off with Donatello the Scientist Gamecat over on Discord, he writes #viewer takeover like a pro. With the integration of Discord on PlayStation, what features do you want most from this partnership?
Well, I think last time we talked about it, my main thing would be I'd just love for it to be easier to share your gameplay with people and hop into a voice chat. Like our voice chat's always pretty vibrant, pretty cool spot to hang out. Sometimes there'll be like 10, 15 people just hanging out in there, sharing their gameplay, and you can hop between screens and see what everybody's doing. Mr. Sonic is always playing Persona, of course, and like Gilman will be showing off a G.I. Joe or something. That's how it works. But to be able to do that from your PlayStation natively, just spin up a little stream for the voice chat and get in there on your headset, that'd be nice and convenient. I would like that a lot. Yeah, especially since we've lost the communities feature. Like that would make it feel more like we had something to fill that gap.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that for PSVR2 specifically, I would like to be able to take these apps. We've talked about this a little bit before on other shows. I'd like to take these apps and just grab the window in VR and just throw it up here, just as like a hanging plasma TV. I'm fucking so outdated. As a hanging flat screen TV or window, just like that's kind of angled down toward me while I'm in my game doing my thing. I can look up and keep watching my Netflix movie. I can multitask. I can watch other people do their Discord stuff. I can watch people's videos in Discord. Like just being able to like grab these things and put them in your virtual world feels so Back to the Future 2 to me that like this is what I need from PSVR2 / the Discord integration.
Well, so if Sony is doing the right thing and paying attention to Oculus's stuff that isn't games, but like the UI, the interface, the home room that you're in, that kind of stuff, if they pay attention to what's already been done there and improve on it, or at least incorporate it, then we'll be looking good there. Because I think already on Link, Oculus Link, you can do that. You can put a thing up in the corner and you can pin it there. And for live streams, I've done that where I put the chat window up there and I just look over and there's the chat window. And it's just a simple browser-based thing. You could watch your Netflix or YouTube or whatever you want, pin it up in the corner. So I think, it's been done. So why not incorporate it?
Yeah. Totally agree. It's funny, like I'm asking all this stuff as if it's like, God, this would be amazing. This would be crazy. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't feel like it's totally feasible because I don't know. Like, obviously Sony's committed to VR. I just don't know how committed they are to the VR experience. Like the VR, like like the whole UI thing, the whole, making sure that once you put that headset on, you're immersed and you have a different UI, you have a VR setting to be in, you have VR, the apps you're using will change to VR apps or be able to use them in the windows. Like, this is the stuff that Sony still has to answer, and there's a lot of stuff that Sony still has to answer.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, so I thought when we got the PS5 reveal, I was like, oh, this new UI is going to be great. I'm going to love it. And maybe they'll do something for VR. And they didn't do anything for VR yet. But the PS5 UI is not much to write home about, honestly. The way they've redesigned it doesn't really make it easier to use or make it better in any way. So I hope that we don't get a similar thing with PSVR, where like they're like, hey, we got you a new thing. You like it? And it's like, thanks, I hate it.
Right.
But really, I feel they've been focused on games and just games. And I don't know if they will, fill that blank in terms of like the experience of like putting the headset on and you're a different UI, different room, different way to interact. They really ought to, but I think they're probably just going to be like, hey, we give you better controllers, we give you better games, just put that thing on and play them. Like, it's a minor complaint that we have, but it's still a complaint. But I think they may not care that much.
Ben L, the Gamecat, with the $5 tip says, here's a tip. Don't look at the leftovers in your fridge and think, do I want to eat this? Think instead, would this work as frozen pizza topping? Ooh.
Oh,
I like that.
I want to know what you put on your frozen pizza, because I got some orange chicken leftovers. Ooh, and I think maybe you could put orange chicken on it. You might be able to put an orange chicken on pizza.
Why wouldn't you? That would be amazing.
I also have leftover cheese pizza.
So you don't even need a frozen pizza. You just need to take the two leftovers and shove them together. I like this.
We're trying this tonight, guys. I like this.
AJ was talking about how great mac and cheese is on pizza. And so one of these days, man. One of these days. Looper, the Gamecat.
They talked too much shit about CC's. But
I mean, dude, I will talk shit about CC's all day unless it's changed in the last decade, which maybe it has.
Never change, CC's. Never change. I like you just the way you are.
It was good when I was a drunk. Like, anything's good when you're drunk. Looper the Gamecat with the €5 says, that shaving scene at the beginning of Loading Human is one of the best experiences I had in VR. I wish we had full game like this. Dude, that is something that I do love about when VR was first in its infancy. I think a lot of developers were trying to be like, what can you do in VR that like might be totally not interesting at all whatsoever in the real world or even in video games with a controller. But when you have motion controllers, like, what can you do? I mean, shaving, there was like 3 other things you could do in that bathroom. But I do kind of miss that. I feel like the ingenuity is sort of left the building over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, there was that phase where like stuff got accused of being tech demos because it really was a lot of just like, oh, you have motion controls. What could we do with this? And like played around with ideas where it's like, it wasn't really a mechanic. It was just something you do once. Or like sometimes really worked against the gameplay, like Faded. I always talk about the ending of Faded, where this really tragic occurrence happens. And to progress, they make you nod your head up and down like a fucking moron. And it just takes me out of the experience completely. So like some VR gimmickry, I can see like leave it in the past. It doesn't need to be part of the present. But I do like to see people taking risks and trying new things. And, whatever.
In the chat, we got Shirzad Khan City. Just making sure I was just making sure I didn't say anything offensive. Sometimes I read things without sounding them out in my head first. With a $5 tip, says, I hope I pronounced that right too, says tethered devices would not help VR go mainstream. Can't wait for PSVR2 though.
I think PSVR2 can be tethered and still be mainstream at the same time.
I think we're going to find out what the audience really wants. I mean, who was it over at Facebook that was like, gamers, consumers do not want tethered VR experiences. And I was like, you know what? That's totally true. That's absolutely true. Like, if we have the choice, between, it's like, oh, do you want this super high-powered tethered device or this super high-powered untethered device? I'd be like, well, untethered, man. Like, do what you got to do. Make it work. Make it happen. It's expensive. Maybe it'll be worth it. But ultimately, I do think that Sony's going to make it less expensive. And then again, more mainstream because it's less expensive. And just adding one cable will make that happen.
Well, yeah, if you have one lightweight cable that plugs in with a normal USB to your PlayStation, like that's fine. That's good because if you didn't have that, you'd have to worry about battery life all the time, which is such a pain in the ass. Quest 2, I'm always having to charge that thing. The other thing is, like, say somebody doesn't have great Wi-Fi in their house. Maybe your router's not very good. Unless there's a direct connection from the PlayStation to your headset somehow without using your Wi-Fi, like, how are you going to get around that? Yeah. You know, you could have a shitty experience because the latency is bad and your controller inputs are delayed and, like, it's choppy and stuff. Like, it ensures a smooth experience and a consistent experience regardless of what your network is at your house if you got a cable plugged in. I don't think it's as big a deal as people think it is.
I think we're going to find out. Again, like, some people are like, I don't care as long as we get AAA, VR experiences, and if this is what it takes, then great. And other people are like, I will totally take the downgrade if it means I can be wireless. And I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna see which one of these wins out in the end. And I think we're going to go obviously way more into that.
Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you. Okay.
Oh no, we'll come back soon. I miss you already. It's really sad. So there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, and I think we're just going to jump right into the next viewer takeover question because I don't want to get too far off track here. Oh, I'm just hanging out by myself. Dave's gone. What do you guys want to talk about while Dave's gone?
Hey, sorry, man. My computer decided to stop recognizing my headphones midstream. So
okay,
I'm trying to figure it out.
You can't hear me still. Okay. Well then I'm going to read the next question while Dave is figuring things out, and it's from Jay Meow over on our Discord. He writes #viewer takeover. Are you guys disappointed with the Larcenauts reveal? First things first. Is that how we pronounce it? Like, it's such a weird name, and I'm sure it means something. But I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of the name. I'm not a fan of the logo. But I guess we'll get to that. Jay continues. He says, I think that even if the game is really fun, I'm still disappointed since I really expected the next built from the ground up for VR AAA game from Impulse Gear. Dave, are you back?
I figured it out. I'm back.
Yes, wonderful.
I'm back. We're good. Thank you, computer, for fucking everything up as usual.
We're talking about the Larcenauts reveal today over on on Impulse Gear. What was your first reaction when you saw this? I want to get, like, you must have had like a gut visceral reaction when you first saw this.
Yeah, it looks like Overwatch.
Yeah,
it's colorful, it's fun, it's a team-based shooter, multiplayer thing with different modes. Vibrant. I already used the word vibrant today, but vibrant characters, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going for that sort of model of I'm not going to say that Fortnite is like this, but more like Overwatch, where it's like kind of fun, kind of colorful, but still you're running around shooting stuff and happening inside. But it looks good. The only problem is it's not at all what anybody wanted from Impulse Gear, and it's not what we were just speculating about, which sounded like an awesome space pirate game that I was super stoked to play that will never exist. But like, it could be great. Like, this is the kind of thing where if it's good and people buy it and play it, it'll be a good thing for VR overall. Because I want a game like this in VR. Like, I've played the team-based shooters we have. I like Alvo, but this is not trying to be Alvo. It's doing something different. And so it looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know. What are your initial impressions?
I mean, this is going to sound really negative. And like, I apologize to Impulse Gear, who's not even fucking watching. But like, I feel when
there's Brian, you never know.
Likely they're not. They've abandoned us, Dave. They don't care about PSVR. I'm just kidding on that too.
Yeah.
We'll get to that too. We're gonna get to a lot of stuff, man. It's gonna be a long ass show. I hope you're ready for it. AJ, you ready? Perfect. AJ is down for the long haul.
Oh, he's ready. He said he wanted a 3-hour show. Oh, AJ said he wanted a
3-hour show. A 3-hour show. I laughed when I saw this. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
This is what you're doing. Yeah.
Right? Because not only, of course, did I see that it wasn't for PlayStation VR, which I actually don't care about personally because it's not the kind of game that I'm looking to play. But I was like, this looks
It'd be fun with a name controller, though. Absolutely, it would be fun with a name controller.
I would play it, don't get me wrong, but like, it's not a game that I'm like, it's not a genre that I'm actively being like, man, PSVR really needs more of these, right? And I'm looking for stuff with more substance. I'm looking for stuff with like especially when it comes to Impulse Gear, I'm looking for something with a deep, rich story, a nice long adventure, something that's really going to be memorable. And I don't see this being memorable. I see this potentially being fun, which is great. And hopefully the development costs weren't all that high. But my first reaction was, why does this look so slow? Like if they're gonna make a game like Overwatch for VR, like why not? Like why not make it Sirento style, man? Like why not give us awesome locomotion controls? Like give us let us do flips and backflips and let us like do wall runs and wall jumps.
Yeah, if I could. So I don't know if you ever played Lucio in Overwatch, or if you played Overwatch at all.
Like 2 seconds, yeah, not at all.
Lucio was the only character that I would use because I didn't have to be good at shooting anybody. All I would do is jump around and wall ride and slide and hop around like I was playing fucking Jet Grind Radio the whole time, healing everybody and just being, having a good time. So like that sounds great in VR, or like something like Titanfall locomotion where you could, like you said, wall run and jump on stuff. That would be great. Yeah. This looks pretty standard walking and shooting kind of deal. Like
it just doesn't. My biggest problem with it wasn't even that it was a genre I didn't care about. I don't care about hero shooters, but my biggest problem was I was like, wow, even as a hero shooter, this looks slow paced. Like, I mean, I know it's not going to be once you're in the headset, but like it doesn't look exciting to me. And so, I mean, the stuff that they're showing right now is like where you get a dude who just like punches. Maybe that's a staple in hero shooters where there's a guy who only can do melee combat. I have no idea, but the fact is, I'm just like, this didn't look exciting to me, and I'm just kind of bothered by the entire thing, sadly.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it exactly because I think so. There's a few conflicting thoughts here, but this could be a good thing for VR in general if it takes off and does well. And is something people view as like, oh, this is the Overwatch of VR. Because, you can say, oh, it's a team-based shooter, there's no depth, there's no campaign. It's not something I'm interested in. But people are playing Overwatch like years and years and years and years and years after it came out, dedicatedly as like the one game they play. And people were like that for Firewall too, but it's like, you've got multiple modes here, you've got a different kind of vibe going on. I feel like it's going to be more just like Overwatch. I guess I can't stop coming back to that comparison, and I could be totally off here when we get the real game.
Doesn't it look like Overwatch?
Doesn't that
even the
article say like Overwatch like 5 times or something?
Probably, yeah. Shout out to Sin Studio in the chat with the Canadian $10 says, I'll take wired VR any day, and even then we're working with scraps most of the time in terms of how far we can push things. It's soul sucking and limits creativity. Also, hey, what's up, Alec? How you doing, bud?
Hey.
Man. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go.
We're gonna talk more about wired versus not wired and how much horsepower and stuff limits creativity. We're gonna get to that later in the show. I just want to stay on topic right now, and say, we had a game like Megalith, and Megalith was like what 2v2.
Yeah.
And so like that didn't go far enough. And so so if this game succeeds on PCVR and Quest, as Impulse Gear said it was coming to those platforms, I thought, then great. If it's successful, then maybe it'll come to PSVR2 later on, next year. If this is like the big VR hero shooter, then it's probably going to last a little while. And by the time we get on PSVR2, hopefully crossplay, like it's going to be at launch here this summer, and it could be a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah.
But the question is do you think Impulse Gear, this was brought up a lot in our Discord. I'm not taking credit for this. This was the conversation that was happening in general earlier this morning. Do you think Impulse Gear is big enough for this to kind of be like their side project? Where they're like, hey, we need to make something we think is going to sell because this Oculus Quest is like the thing right now to make games for. Farpoint 2, whatever we're doing, our big project couldn't run on the Quest. Like, we need to make we're going to make some money while the making money is good. Do you think that's even a possibility?
I don't think that they're currently also working on something like a Farpoint 2 and just not telling us about it and it's going to come soon. Like, maybe they are in some back corner of the company, but I think probably most of them are working on this. It does look polished. It looks like there's a budget behind it. 5 guys didn't make this in a room together somewhere. Like, it's pretty good in terms of it appears to be a polished, not AAA, but like AA product probably. And it's got to be all this, I think. But as a business, like this is probably going to make more money than whatever Farpoint 2 would have made.
It's an excellent point. I think that I think
especially if they can sell you skins. If they can sell you skins, oof, money train. They're on the money train.
I don't know how big Impulse Gear is. I think the last time we saw it, there was like 30-ish employees. I don't know if it's grown a lot since then. Just remember seeing the team picture with like all of them out, like the lawn or something. And X just said they just did expand to a new office. They're listed as 11 to 50 employees on LinkedIn. So let's say they expanded to 50, right? I do think it's possible that this is sort of their, and again, just because it's like not their big AAA game, I do think that doesn't mean that this can't be an amazing game. I don't think that this means it can't be something they support a lot going forward. I do think it's a possibility, because I don't know, man. I just don't see them being this studio that brought us, one of the best narratively designed games, told us one of the best stories on PlayStation VR1. I'm just talking for AJ because he's not here. And then be like, you know what? Fuck all of that. Like this thing that we're really good at, fuck it, man. And just go, we're just going to do this entirely different thing without still working on our passion project.
Isn't that what fast travel games does? I mean, they like jump from genre to genre. The games are wildly different from each other. They don't double down and capitalize on any strength particularly. They just make completely different game every time.
I'm gonna say,
why is that not okay when Impulse Gear does it?
I'm going to say it's exactly what fast travel did. In fact, the Curious Tale, the Stolen Pets was a side project that only some of the members of the team were working on while they were making their next big game, Wraith. And so and so that's why I think fast travel is going to be roughly the same size as these guys. And that's why I'm thinking that maybe it's possible. Not that I think this is the same size. I guess
it's possible. It's certainly possible for sure. Yeah, I just don't think we'll see anything about that potential game anytime soon. Possibly not. Because the last thing you want to do is like cannibalize yourself and be like, they announce a new game when Larcenauts is like taking off and people are like asking for more maps and new weapons and new modes and blah blah blah, and then they're like, hey, here's Farpoint 2. Everyone's like, wait a minute, what about the game that you sold us already? What about the game that we're playing? And so it would be a bad look. And so and also like launching an online multiplayer game is always going to be kind of a nightmare for the studio launching it. There's going to be problems. The servers are going to go down. You're going to have to get on Twitter and apologize to people and stuff. And like, you don't want to be working on releasing something else in that time frame. Like those first few months when you're ironing out all the kinks, don't even talk about another game. Right. Just shut up and work on the game, that you're working on.
Shirzad Khan City, again in the chat, says, you guys think PS5 Pro is a thing before PSVR2 or at all? We've had this conversation strangely numerous times, not in regards to PSVR2, but tell me, Dave, why do you think that PlayStation 5 Pro isn't a possibility or not going to be a thing?
I think we're at this point where it's like, you're going to get diminishing returns if you try to keep, so it says 8K compatible this thing, right? If it's already 8K compatible, what the fuck do I need another console for? And also, am I even going to care about 8K when it shows up? When I can buy an 8K TV for a reasonable price, do I need one? Unless I live in a movie theater, you know what I mean? At a certain point, things kind of plateau, right? And I think we've hit that point where the games look gorgeous. They run very quickly, very smoothly, and they're just starting to get the power out of this thing that they can really get out of it, right? Because, any life cycle of a console, by the end of it, the developers know exactly what they're doing and can really capitalize on the strengths of the console. I don't think anytime... I can't see what the reason for a PS5 Pro would be, honestly.
I don't know if
maybe more storage space, like a bigger hard drive. That's the only thing, like a bigger SSD.
Yeah. I think 6 months into PSVR... I'm sorry, I keep saying this. 6 months into PS4, I don't know if we saw the need for a PlayStation 4 Pro then either, though.
Yeah, but I mean, our games also took a minute to load, and they didn't have ray tracing, and they didn't run at 4K 60 frames and all this shit. Now they do. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, it's pretty good. What else do I want? How greedy can I be with my video games? It's already... Returnal is so good. How could it be better on a better console? I don't see what a Pro could do for Returnal in any way. It's already good as it is. Yeah. And I'm sure people have said that stuff, when God of War first launched on PS4 and, no one knew that there'd be a PS5 version. I'm sure they thought the same thing, so I could be totally wrong. But
Well, I think ray tracing is going to be the key term this generation. I do think that, as soon as like ray tracing is more uses up more processing power than I think anybody knows. Like it just it slows everything down. It slows your frame rate down, slows your resolution down, lowers, and it just to keep things running. It's very, very expensive as far as game design goes, processing power. So I think ray tracing, when it comes to PSVR2, I don't think we're going to see a PlayStation 5 Pro anytime soon. I think if we get one, it's like going to be 4 years down the road at best, when like Microsoft and Sony are like, hey, we got a good thing going here. Let's not screw this up. Let's keep this generation rolling longer. But then I think it's like, when you put on the PlayStation VR2 headset and everything's running at a higher resolution and they're trying to keep those frame rates up they're going to try to keep them up way higher than 60 FPS, right? And they want to start doing things like HDR and ray tracing in the headset, and you have to project two separate images. You have to render two images at the same time. I think at a certain point, you're going to need the full power of a PlayStation 5 for each image. And so doubling that horsepower to be able to ensure that your PlayStation 5 VR games look as good as a PlayStation 5 flat screen game is going to be kind of important. And so I think for VR gamers.
For VR, yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, I think for VR gamers, that's the reason a Pro would be important. But for flat screen, I'm totally there with you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, we haven't seen what the PS5 can do with VR, and that's one thing that is still an unknown quantity. Like, maybe it can pull that off. Maybe they can do ray tracing at 90 hertz and have a good, clean experience, and it runs well. Nobody knows. We have no fucking clue. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I do agree that probably when it comes to VR, especially with stuff like on PC, Half-Life Alyx was one of those games where it's like you got to buy a new graphics card for this one, man. It's not going to run on your old computer from 3 years ago. You have to buy the newest shit to play this. And that's the thing that happens with PC all the time. I hope we don't end up in that sort of struggle here with VR on PS5, where it's like, we can't really pull that off. We need something more powerful. Why don't you upgrade? Because I don't like that.
JT Money in the chat says something interesting. He says, I think Sony learned their lesson with the PS4 Pro. I don't know anyone that owns one. Can we get a poll in the chat going here? How many people in the chat have a PlayStation 4 Pro or had a PlayStation 4 Pro before they got a PS5?
And how many people got it for VR specifically? That's my other question. That's
a great question. Yeah, if you can answer both of those, we'd love to kind of get an unofficial poll going on here. We know that the Without Parole crew or the Without Parole cats are some of the hardest core gamers out there. So it's going to be a skewed poll for sure. But I definitely want to know the difference here.
I think we'll see a majority of pros.
I think so too.
Commenting. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
So Dave, we have this great run of show here where a lot of people asked a lot of great questions. But you were talking. You mentioned Returnal briefly in passing, and that's all it took for me to go, can we talk about Returnal, please? Because that's all I've been playing. But in this context, because it does relate to the question.
Okay.
I tweeted earlier today, I said, Returnal's the first game in the last 4+ years that has made me take off my PSVR headset and stick with a current gen flat screen game. And I've been obsessed with it. I played it for 9 hours yesterday, almost straight.
Wow.
And I still haven't
beat the first boss?
Still haven't beaten the first boss.
Me neither.
I played it for another 3 hours today. Didn't make any progress whatsoever. But
you have the sword though, right? Did you get the sword?
Oh, in the first 2 hours.
Okay, good.
But dude, I woke up today and the first thing I wanted to do was rush back to it, and I had the best run I ever had as my first run. I found it, and I was seeing new areas procedurally generated and stuff that were different than areas that I played for the first 9 hours. I was like, where were these areas hiding during my last 300 runs? I
think what I've noticed is that it's procedurally generated, but not just randomly. I think that there are certain points, things will occur on a certain run, you'll find your own dead body, and it'll be like, this is my 10th death, and you listen to the audio log, and you're in a room you haven't been in before, and then you find other rooms you haven't been in before. And once I got the sword, I started seeing different stuff, and I think that the game knows what you've done and sort of gives you a little more to keep you going. Because if I was in that first biome for 12 hours without beating the boss, and it didn't show me a snippet of a new thing now and then, or a crumb of a story bit, or you get the house key at some point, right?
Dude.
That's a whole thing. A whole thing.
Yep.
And they did a really good job of continually keeping it engaging, and every run does feel different because you're seeing stuff that they didn't allow you to see before.
Dude, Returnal is one of my favorite games of the last couple years, right? Like, and again, I'm only in the first fucking biome. Like, I haven't even beaten the first boss, and I already love it this much. It's everything that I want. You know, combining like the kind of the alien setting, and just I love how it feels like a twin stick shooter, but it doesn't play like a twin stick shooter. It definitely feels like a Housemarque game, but absolutely a AAA Housemarque game. And I was wary, man. I was wary. You know, I didn't want to pull the trigger on a $70 PS5 game, and then I played it in like. After the first 4 hours, I was like, I would have paid $100 for this game. This is like one of my favorite games in a very long time.
I'm going to be playing it for like a year at least. Like, to see everything, just to get everything done. Like, I don't care that I haven't beaten the first boss because there's still a lot more to get done.
I'm enjoying so much,
Yeah, exactly.
So this is
just the mechanical satisfaction of playing the game is enough to keep me going for the most part.
So
great.
Crazily enough, Returnal is what spawned the thumbnail in the title. It's everything is revolved around the Returnal, because I'm playing Returnal and I'm going, and I even sent White Moon Dreams a message. I was like, guys, like, do whatever you have to do, get this thing fucking up and running on PSVR2. Like this, playing this in first person mode with the orbs, and dude, and feeling how great the DualSense feels with the rain falling on the controller, and just even I could tell where enemies were because of the feedback in the controller. I feel something over on this side and be like, I even when I didn't have my headphones on, the controller was kind of telling me, it's like over here. I was like, what? It was like, shit, there's an enemy over there.
Yeah,
it's so good with that kind of stuff that if this was happening in the orbs, it would be amazing. First person.
Oh, incredible too. Well,
just like
also
firing
the
both
audio.
directions.
The audio design is like insanely good, and that's the kind of thing that it's like when you see what the PS5 can do now.
Yeah.
Because we heard about Tempest Audio and 3D, directional audio and stuff. Basically, like the ray tracing of audio, they were going to roll out here for us.
Exactly.
And not many other games have really used it very well. I can't think of one where I was wowed entirely. Like, I played Miles Morales with it, and it was like, oh, the people on the street talking sound a little bit more like real people on the street talking. But it wasn't like a game changer. I still played the game essentially the same way. The audio design in this game is so good that it affects the way you play the game. It's a gameplay mechanic because you're constantly relying on it to know what's going on directionally around you. Like you said, with the controller and the audio together, you don't have to look back to know there's a guy behind you. You know there's a guy behind you.
Right.
And so adding that audio support to VR games is going to be huge, because you're actually in the room and you hear something realistically, like behind your head. You spin around and start blasting the thing. Oh my god, it's going to be great.
Are you using the Pulse?
I'm using the Pulse, yeah.
Okay, because somebody in the chat was asking how it sounds with the official headset. I think Dave just answered your question. It sounds incredible.
It's great. Well, also if you have just a normal surround sound system, it sounds great as well on surround sound. It's just like the best sounding game.
Nice. This is so this presented a problem to me. I'm playing Returnal, and I'm quickly being pulled out of the rock, the PSVR rock that I've been under for the last 4 years, and it's creating a problem. The problem is like, man, I want this in VR. I want this for PSVR2. I want this, and I started thinking, man, like, what's the closest analog we have to this in PSVR? And the fact is like, until you fall, or the persistence is the closest we have, and I think
tone-wise, persistence is probably closer. It's got the sci-fi horror aspect, but like the gunplay is just not even in the same ballpark at all.
Not even close. And so it started getting me thinking about, man, I really have been under this PSVR rock, and like I really hope that people understand that, like, all the reviews I've done over the last 4 years have been like, in regards to PSVR games. And when we rate a game, we give it an 8 or a 10 or something. We go, well, for a PSVR game, it gets this.
Well, of course, it's a relative scale. I mean, if we were IGN and we had to rate everything, that would be a different story.
Right. Absolutely. And so,
but even in that context, I think people should consider, and I think they do in some cases, that it is a VR game. It's a different medium. You can't review a different medium the same way.
You're right. You absolutely can't. But I do think that if PSVR 2 allows us to start playing these kind of games, like these fuller, bigger AAA games, like things are going to have to change. Like it without Parole and just like in my mindset entirely, things are going to have to change because like we just don't have games like this.
Yeah. I mean, Layers of Fear would no longer get a pass at all if we had games like this. Layers of Fear, in comparison, would look like, oh my God, why would you even play this thing, right? Like, if you had Returnal on PSVR, the bar goes up for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so once we get to that point, which we will get to, I mean, PSVR2, I think, is going to be where we start seeing that stuff. And yeah, it'll be an interesting time to have to recalibrate. But cool.
Chairface says, "Pipe down, AJ. Let the others get a word in."
Damn it!
Right? Seriously, dude. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, it's just it was kind of, to me it was just eye opening. You know, I had played Resident Evil 2 remake, right? And I was sitting there and I tried to play it, and I probably got about 2 hours in. I was like, this is really good, but it didn't suck me in. I was like, this is fine. This is whatever. It just, I guess it, regardless of how much I love Resident Evil, and especially Resident Evil 2, the remake just wasn't what I was looking for at the time. And this was just somehow everything I was looking for at the time. And everything is blowing me away about this game. And I can't stop playing it. I'm totally addicted. And I just really need PSVR 2 to get here sooner rather than later because I'm just like, I just know that next gen for PlayStation 5, PSVR 2, I think we're going to see a lot more of these types of titles, a lot more of these full-fledged AAA games. You know, we don't know what's going on under the hood so much with PlayStation 5, but we've heard from multiple developers that PS5 is going to make things easier on VR developers. So fingers crossed that that's actually turns out to be the case and that we see like that half the games that get announced end up coming to VR.
And just to add a little fuel to your fire, I say this often, but you might recall that at one point, Nex Machina was rumored and even listed on Amazon to have a VR version.
Right.
And I sent them a DM about it, and they said, we don't have anything to say about this at this time. They didn't say no. They didn't say we didn't consider it. We're not even thinking about it. They said, we can't announce anything. And then they never did, which makes me wonder, like, they might have realized they wanted to wait for the power of PSVR 2.
That's interesting.
And, like, I don't know, Housemarque has a reputation within Sony, as far as studios that they have a hand in, of being the one who come out with a game that shows off the new tech near the beginning of the life cycle. Resogun, Returnal, this is what they do. They come out with a shooter at the beginning of the console life cycle that shows off what it can do, right? Particle effects, cool graphics, all kinds of stuff. Like, even though Resogun's simple, like, it did show off some things that the PS4 could do that the PS3 couldn't. And that would be a good spot for them to be in for PSVR 2, right? Yeah. Like, to be on the ground floor and say, hey, we're going to be putting out the best good game at the beginning, first few months here. And that's what we do. We're Housemarque,
Absolutely. We need to go back a little bit to catch up on some tips here. Adam M. a while back with the $5 tip says PSVR 2 needs more mainstream games like Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, and FIFA, especially if they are exclusive and deep to capture all the casuals out there. Dave walked away. Okay, so I 100% agree. I think games like Grand Theft Auto, especially Grand Theft Auto Online, I've said it 1,000 times. My buddy Lewis at the restaurant I used to work at, when he played that for the first time, Grand Theft Auto Online on his PlayStation 4, I guess, he was so amazed about being able to get into a car with your friends and go, on a mission, and just how cool it is with voice chat and everything like that. And ever since then, all I could think was how cool this would be in VR. And again, another thing I've said 1,000 times is all I want to do in VR is drive with one hand and shoot out the window with another hand. Like, it doesn't get more immersive than that. I'm right-handed. I don't know if that's how that would work. I guess I could shoot with my left hand. I can't do much with my left hand. Anyway, I totally agree, man. And I think Call of Duty is a big one too. I'm not interested in Call of Duty whatsoever. Like, the last one I played was Modern Warfare 2 on PS3. I haven't played one since then. I would play every single campaign and probably get into the multiplayer if it was VR enabled. That's about as clear cut as that gets. And I think a lot of people are with me on that. And I think a lot of the casual gamers, and I don't want to say that like reductfully. Is reductfully a word, Dave?
No, absolutely not. You don't want to be a reductionist.
Don't want to be reductive by calling people casual gamers. Yeah. There we go.
But they call you a reductionist.
They would call me. God damn it! Why would I do that? But Adam M follows up that tip with this tip with $5. Says, would PSVR2 be smart to offer an untethered option to play certain games on the go, then plug it into your PS5 for certain games or full power?
I don't think so, just because the cost of having onboard storage on the headset.
Yeah.
Like, just to have it run by itself takes a whole different set of hardware than if it's a display device, right? Like, the Oculus Quest has a battery in it. It's got all sorts of shit in there.
Processing power, hard drives.
Processing, GPU, CPU, all this shit.
Yep.
Your PlayStation VR just has some HDMI cables you plug in, and it puts the shit on your face. Like, I mean, besides the tracking little gizmos and stuff, but it's pretty straightforward. So I think that it would cost way more if they added that option.
Yeah.
That people might think they want it, but they don't want to pay for it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's saying that the price needs to be competitive with Quest, and the way that Quest is competitive is because they sell your data, and so that's how they make up their money on the back end. So who the fuck knows, man? Sony probably does this too. I don't think Sony's any saint whatsoever. We've certainly seen documents and stuff that prove Sony's just as fucking cutthroat company as any other company, and that's as far as I'm concerned, that's fine, man. I just want my fucking games.
They have Shuhei.
They have Shu, and he's a saint. Let's be honest. He's never done anything wrong. Shuhei's awesome. But yeah, I do think it starts getting really expensive, and it's an option that most people aren't going to use because, I could be in the minority here, but I don't think I am. I'm playing my VR games at home. I'm not playing them in the backseat of a car when mom and dad take me on a long road trip. I'm not playing it on the bus. I'm not going to a friend's house and being like, here, try this on. Because it's a VR headset. And honestly, I'd be like, hey, come over and check it out at my house. Or not, because I just don't want your fucking face in my headset, period. Right?
I mean, so I have a little bit of a different experience recently as far as that goes, which is like, a friend of mine has been getting into VR a little bit who I never thought would. And he picked up a Quest and starting to play with stuff, people in the community, the Gamecats and stuff. And when I go over to his house, he's always like, oh, did you bring your Quest? And I'm like, oh, no, I left it. And he's like, damn, dude, I wanted to play golf or I wanted to play poker. Like, we could hang out in the same room and do that together. And I think that is the one nice thing about it, like, to do something virtually in the same room as somebody you're hanging out with. That's always cool. But, like, it's not enough to be a make or break thing at all. For PlayStation 2 VR.
Yeah, absolutely.
PlayStation VR 2.
And don't worry, guys, we're going to talk more about Quest in a second as well.
Sure.
Jamie out with the $2 tip says, I can't wait for you to play Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, I know. I can't either. It's actually something
I can't wait for myself to finish Half-Life Alyx. I got like halfway through and stopped. I feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad. The second half will be a shock to you when it comes to PlayStation VR 2. It's one of those that I just wanted to play and then just never found the time to. I don't want to sit at my desk or whatever and do that with my Quest. So it's just a convenience thing. I definitely wanted to check it out, but now that I've waited so long, I'm just like, well, fuck it, man. I might as well just wait a little bit longer and play it the way I want to play it.
Yeah, the one thing is like, it's so much more comfortable to play a long game in your PSVR. It's just like a way better headset to wear. And sorry, there's like a bug buzzing in my face and I keep smacking it. And like, I don't want to wear a Quest for 8 hours and play a game. My face would look all fucked up. It would not feel very good. I don't know. It's just not as pleasant an experience for a long game like Alyx. So maybe that's why I didn't finish it. I don't know. Maybe.
Alberto Mapom. Probably pronounced that wrong, with the 50 Mexican, I think it's pesos. Is that what it is down there?
Probably so, yeah.
Says, have a coffee while we wait for PSVR2. Saludos desde Mexico. It's been a long time since I took Spanish, as you can tell. I took 4 years in high school. I bet you can't tell that. Yeah, man, thank you so much.
I think it's actually dollars. It might be dollars, because pesos are like the cents, and I think dollars are dollars. So Mexican dollars, maybe. Yeah.
Really? Oh, man.
I could be totally wrong. I think like 100 pesos is like equal to one Mexican dollar. Just keep me honest out there. Somebody tell me. I don't know.
Thank you.
We're always learning about currencies in here. Is it a euro? Is it a pound?
I think we're learning, though, and then we're forgetting. We're forgetting just as much as we're learning. Yeah. Looper the Gamecat with the €5 says, what are your top 3 detective PSVR games? Mine are Kona, number 3, 2, The Room, and then 1, Dartmoor Mission in Hitman 3.
Okay, your number 1 is a good one, but your number 3 being Kona means that you need to play LA Noire VR Case Files, because that is a much better detective game than Kona, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay,
I agree. I agree. And I think that's where I would do that too. I never would have thought of the Dartmoor mission in Hitman 3, but I like your list, Looper. I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to go with Dave's suggestion to swap out number 3 for sure.
Got more tips. Jesus.
Is it just one more? All right, good.
Looks like it. Sirens on Brian's end. They're coming to arrest him again. Nightly, he gets arrested.
Do you want
to see his rap sheet? His rap sheet is like a mile long.
like this big? Do you want to give this name a shot this time? I've demolished it 3 times already.
Oh, absolutely, sure. Shirzad Khan City.
It's definitely your time to demolish it.
Sure, that was it.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal, PSVR 2 with aim controller on release. Let's fucking go. Yes, I agree with you entirely.
Yeah,
I would love that.
absolutely.
One thing that, not to talk about Returnal all night, but I get a little bit of a Doom vibe from it, because like when the arena locks down and you're in there and it's fast-paced run and gun, there's the verticality of it. It reminds me a lot of the new Doom games.
Huh.
Even though it's third person, it's got that same sense of like tension and action, and you're trapped in an arena. You just got to fight all the guys. But yeah, like once again in VR, of course, I would play any Doom game all day long.
Yeah, I've not played the new Doom games. I've never played. I don't think I've played a Doom game since Doom 3.
2016?
No.
Oh my god, dude.
It's
so good.
I kind of don't care, I guess. I mean, like Doom 3 like really wrote me in because it was like, you know, the survival horror.
Well, I mean, you played VFR though, right?
Oh, that's right. I did play VFR.
Yeah, so that kind of counts. That's like in the style of Doom 2016. It's got the jumping, the glory kill stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Well, part of the reason I love Returnal so much is the setting, the atmosphere, the music, it's spooky without being scary, right? I don't know if it becomes scarier later, but it's exactly what I'm looking for in terms of if I'm going to play a shooter, I want it to be creepy like this. I want it to be unsettling and disturbing. So that's why this worked for me so much. Dave, we do need to talk about Quest, and I do need to talk as part of this question. No, I got my Quest somewhere around here. Oh, it's over there. Jamie over on Discord writes #viewer takeover. Is the Quest holding back AAA VR? And this is sort of part of the question that that I wanted to talk about tonight. As far as is PSVR2 going to push VR gaming into the mainstream? And we kind of said that, hey, yes, hopefully it's going to do that, and it's going to like bring AAA gaming into VR, and like kind of make that, and that might be the way it's happening. But in the meantime, is the Quest holding back AAA VR?
Holding back AAA VR? I don't think so, just because the studios that have successes on Quest will be able to take that money back, hire more people, and work on the next big AA or AAA game, right?
Point,
or at least get in that budget range. Because like stuff is selling really well on Quest, even if it's not like the future of VR. Like, you know, nobody cares that much that Asgard's Wrath isn't on Quest, because really it's a PCVR game, and who even talks about Asgard's Wrath anymore these days? It's just like, it's good for what it does, and it does that one thing very well. And I think people are okay with that, because right now VR is not at a state where you need the 90-hour adventure to play in your Quest. Because, as I said earlier, it's not that comfortable. You got to recharge the thing every fucking 2 hours, and like it's just not convenient to do a game like that there. But if you want to pick up and play with your friends, you know, something casual, it's great for that. But those devs take that money back from those sales and just work on something big for the next generation of VR. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if it's holding back AAA VR gaming. I do know that it's been great for indies, because what's been good for indies is not having AAA competition on a platform, right? You're an indie developer, you're making a Quest game, you're in there, you're on the store, and no one's there going, should I buy Skyrim or Resident Evil 7, or should I buy Walkabout Mini Golf? Right? There's not this competition that like just immediately smushes a bunch of indies, because your name is out there, and actually you've been highlighted, and people are talking about your game because more people are playing it. And it's sort of this cyclical thing where it's sort of perfect for the indie gaming scene. And so is Quest personally, as if it's a person, although companies are people, I hear corporations are people.
Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg.
That's all it is. It's just him sitting at a desk.
Just have a picture of his face every time you put your Quest on.
Right. I don't think Quest is holding back AAA VR. I think that Quest is doing exactly what it should be doing, and I think it's kind of perfect right now, to be honest. It's bringing in more gamers than ever into the VR ecosystem.
Yeah, non-gamers.
And non-gamers, which is also important. It's converting people from non-gaming to gaming. It's converting people from flat screen gaming to VR gaming. And people are saying, "Oh, look how convenient this is. You throw this thing on, you're like in the game, boom, good to go."
Like, I can't tell you the number of times I've been in the lobby in PokerStars VR on Quest, and somebody's Tia, somebody's aunt, somebody's grandma is got a headset on, and you can hear her on voice, and she's like learning what to do, and she's like,
"Oh, that's so adorable."
She's like loving the slot machines. Old ladies love slot machines, honestly. That's the thing. But yeah, they're just like, you hear them having such a good time, and you're like, this lady wasn't just playing Call of Duty 5 minutes ago.
Right.
It's just like somebody who isn't a gamer seeing the wonder of this kind of experience, right? And that's something I always like to think about in the back of my mind. Grabbing those people.
Let me tell you what is holding back AAA VR gaming. Xbox refusing to get into VR gaming. It's holding back AAA gaming.
Yeah, but when was the last AAA exclusive Xbox release that was like any good? I mean, maybe Gears of War 5? I didn't play those games.
It's not about Microsoft making games. It's about being able to release AAA games on a very powerful hardware platform that a lot of people are playing on. And this does include PlayStation 5. I feel like the what's holding back AAA gaming right now is that PSVR2 is so far away. It's probably still a year out. Like, I know. We've talked about it fucking ad nauseum about why PlayStation VR2 didn't launch alongside a PlayStation 5. It makes sense, right? They want to sell the PlayStation 5. You need to sell PlayStation 5s in order to sell PSVR2s eventually. And they're selling like crazy, luckily. So, that's why PSVR2 is actually happening. But the fact is if they had it at launch, despite everything I just said, then we would be 6 months in to AAA PlayStation 5 VR gaming. And so it's decisions like that, which maybe are good for PlayStation 5, but as far as PSVR gamers go, it's not a good decision. We're just like, man, we are ready for it, man. And yes, it's going to be expensive at launch, but we are ready to like throw down all of our dollars to get a PlayStation 5 and a PSVR 2 headset. Let's not even get into the PS5 availability conversation because, God, it's so many people are pissed off that they can't get one. If they couldn't get that or the headset, I mean, just fuck the world, right? But still, the point is that being able to get these things both at the same time, being able to get into next gen, including VR next gen at the same time as PS5 came around, it would have been amazing. And now it's going to be, 18 months, possibly 2 years after the PlayStation 5 launch that we're finally going to get a new headset for it that's going to be able to really take advantage of what it's doing. That's what's holding AAA VR gaming back more than the Quest, right? The Quest is doing what it does. Unfortunately, there's just not anything out there right now that's consumer affordable and offers AAA VR gaming. I
think really... I'm starting to agree with you here about if Xbox did make a move and say, okay, we're going to support VR on, the new consoles. I've said this in the past, I think, but I firmly believe that they would go for a model where it doesn't matter which headset you plug into it, as long as it runs on a USB cable and some display cable, like just plug it in and like you could pick from any line of headsets that work on a PC and just plug it into your headset or your console. And so that would basically give people the option in a consumer friendly way to say, hey, maybe I want to get a really high-end experience, or maybe I want the cheapest thing I can get. And if the thing you want is out of stock, maybe there's another option that's actually available that you could buy and plug into the thing. But to me, that would be like a really big move for VR in general, to have like a console that was a bring your own headset experience, the way that PC is, right? Like you can plug any PC headset into it. PC, it doesn't matter. And I think Microsoft is uniquely positioned for that. And that would get a lot of people in the door because maybe they don't have to buy the fancy new expensive headset to try it out. They could buy like a cheapo, 2-year-old one and plug it in and get it used for $150 and have a good time still. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Carlos Herrera in the chat with a $2 tip says, has anyone ever tried to make PSVR wireless? That's a good question. I've got absolutely no answer to that.
Maybe. I mean, Nathan Burba, ask him.
The
You know Nathan Burba,
the
right?
Servios guy?
Well, yeah, he was the guy in that old picture of like he hacked together an initial prototype of the PlayStation VR where there was like a laptop strapped to his back and he had like move controllers and all this shit hooked up. And it looks like, Frankenstein's creation, but he was there like trying to make, hacked stuff together. So I bet he's fucked around with that a little bit.
Dude, I bet
it'd be very difficult, I'm sure.
I bet Servios is going to have an amazing PSVR2 launch title because they went on record being like, we are basically committed to this thing. Before Sony announced it, they were like, yeah, we are, hedging all of our bets, man. Like we are placing all of our bets on PSVR2, basically.
Yeah.
Then they come out with a Bubble Bobble VR game for Quest. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like,
I'll play Bubble Bobble.
I will too, man. Absolutely. That game looks awesome.
Yeah.
So, let's get into this, man. Delirium Drew VR over on our Discord writes hashtag viewer takeover, hashtag like a pro, writes Sniper Elite PSVR or PSVR2.
PSVR, it's already been announced for PSVR.
Yeah, but it seems like they're dragging their feet, man. Do you think at a certain point they just go, let's just wait?
No, they talked about the aim controller so much, and we know for sure that there isn't like a clear successor to the aim controller. So why, I think it's PSVR 1 game still. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
they're taking their time with it.
When I played it at PAX East, over a year ago now. It was like 14 months ago, I guess, 15 months ago. It was already looking good. It played great with the aim controller. It was running on the Pro. It looked pretty fucking good as far as like, graphical fidelity goes. And yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. Again, we've talked a lot about this as well, but it would be nice for all of these games, like after the fall, Sniper Elite, and basically any game that comes out between now and the rest of the year, to be like, hey, we're also bringing you a PSVR 2 version that really takes advantage of the PlayStation 5, these next-gen controllers, all of that stuff, just to be able to be like, hey, this is what happens when the camera goes off. You lose my face. I'm just two hands. It's all I am. Okay, that's fucking ridiculous. Scott Jessico, PSN, Harry Fellow, PSVR, Gamecat for life, with the $2 donation saying, future past, Scott, all aboard the tip train. Choo-choo. Thank you so much, future past Scott Jessico. We love you so much. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss any other tips. No, we did not, as far as I know. Thank you so much, everybody. Delirium Drew's second question. Oh, man. I'm not going to have a good answer for this because I don't keep up with PCVR very well. But what's the first PCVR port you'd like to see on PlayStation VR 2? Half-Life Alyx excluded because that's just too damn easy.
Stormlands. Stormlands would be fun. That's an Insomniac game who is now owned by Sony.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
It has a cool locomotion system. It's got multiplayer. It's designed to be replayable. There's like daily challenges, weekly challenges, and stuff like that. And I think to some degree it's like randomized when you play. So, but yeah, Stormlands would be fun, just as something to have. Because Insomniac, after all.
I'm going with Phasmophobia, man, because...
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, that's way better. That's way better.
Because it's not a game that couldn't run on PSVR 1, but again, for a team of, I think, one person like making that game, for small teams like that, the power of the PlayStation 5 is going to make it so much easier for these small dev teams to not have to struggle with horsepower and downgrade their PC games so much. So Phasmophobia, Cosmo Dread, right? But we need all of these games. Yeah. Every scary VR game ever made needs to come to PSVR 2. That's my real answer.
So there's a lot of people saying they didn't like Stormlands, so fair enough. Maybe, like I said, I think Brian's answer was better anyways. So.
Red Rover, the effing Gamecat with a $10 tip, says, just popping in to say, yo, need to pop out for more meetings. Just wondering, is this your way of silencing AJ? I mean, it's the only way we can do it. Yep. Replacing him with a photo was the only way we could silence him. Charlie the Gamecat over on Discord, he writes, could it be possible that the new AAA game series that Sony announced could support VR? Now, do you remember this, Dave? I kind of had to look this up a little bit just to make sure I had all my facts.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, they didn't announce specifically what AAA idea was going to be. Right, it's just a new one.
Firewalk's AAA team sets its sights on creating memorable multiplayer moments for players, and there's a whole PlayStation blog post about it. And real quick here, the blog post is awesome. But Tony Su, the studio head, writes, It's why I used to stay up until 2 a.m. playing Phantasy Star Online night after night with the same group of from Server 9, or how the neighbors used to show up at my New York City apartment and complain about the noise, ended up jamming with us in Rock Band instead. For others on the team, it was spending nights with their crew searching and finding the perfect last armor set piece in Diablo 2, making the online qualifiers in competitive Halo tournaments, or skipping studying a math final to play a Left 4 Dead 2 LAN party. Now, they go on and on and on about all this stuff.
Trying to turn me on, man. That sounds great. All that shit sounds great. Like, oh man, that's like right up my alley. Everything that was described there.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's so great that he's referencing these kind of games, because the last thing I want, if Sony's partnering with a team, the last thing I want them to be doing is making a competitive first-person shooter, or a hero shooter, or some kind of new esport rigs, right? Enough with the fucking esports. Enough with the competitive shooters. Like, looking at that list of games that he just said, this is what inspires our studio. That's awesome. And if this shit is in VR, multiplayer stuff is always better in VR.
Yes. If Phantasy Star, something like Phantasy Star or Diablo existed in VR, you would not see my ass again for like 2 years. Like, I've told people this before, but I've bought Diablo on every single fucking platform they've ever released it on. Every upgrade, every version, Ultimate Edition, DLC, Switch, PS4, PS3, PC. Like, I've got it on fucking everything.
Sure.
And I just love that. That game to me is like timeless. I could play it any time of day with any group of people and have a good time. And so something like that in VR, I would kill for. Like, not literally, obviously, I wouldn't kill anybody, but yeah, that sounds really good.
You Stay Frosty with the 279 tips says, Brian, buy some coffee and fire up Doom 2016. With Returnal, man.
You'd have to buy Doom 2016 and then fire up some coffee, I think, probably.
There you go. But yeah, Returnal's got my flat screen attention right now, and unfortunately, after that's over, even before that's over, I'm going to have to go back to VR gaming. But it did actually come out at the perfect time for me, because there's a little bit of a lull happening right now. You know, we got some interesting news happening and stuff on the PSVR front, but not a lot of releases. Even like what the Saints and Sinners Aftershocks DLC isn't coming till like later this month. So we've got a little bit of time to play with here. Which is the perfect time for me to finally get hooked on a flat screen game. I know I'm
not sure what he means exactly, but Frosty in the chat says he's talking to Spooky EP out there, Chorus the Gamecat, and he says Doom 2016 is a Coke/roid hybrid. That's got to be a drug thing, right?
Like a cocaine and steroid?
Like, I mean, I guess I could see that. All
right, that works.
Maybe some PCP in there, a little angel dust.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. Nope. I could do without it. PCP and Angel Dust? No bueno. Yeah. Is PCP Angel Dust? Is the same thing?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
It's been a while.
Somebody who knows more about drugs tell us.
Yeah. I've done Angel Dust. I don't know if it's also called PCP, but I will tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. Drugs are bad. Okay. Oh man. So I think we've answered the question. Do you think we answered the question, Dave? I think PSVR2 will pull VR gaming into the mainstream. I do think they're going to do it with AAA games. I do think that they are one of the biggest. They have the biggest stable of awesome developers in the world making games for them. And so if anybody can do it, they can. And now the question is how are they going to allocate those resources in order to make PSVR2 a success?
Well, and it's also good to know that, they've got a lot of studios under their belt at this point that do various things pretty damn well and who have some VR experience already, right? Like Insomniac has VR experience, so maybe we don't get a port of one of their PCVR games. We get a new game from Insomniac in VR. Now, once again, we talked about like splitting teams and stuff. I know they're working on Ratchet and Clank and all, but they've probably got a big team to do both.
Insomniac is huge. Yeah, they have multiple teams at Insomniac. Yeah. Tax refund. The Heath that is not with me is against me. Gamecat. So it takes me a second to read that. It says, we know you're not playing Resident Evil 8 until it's VR, Brian. But did you check any reviews? I did not check any reviews because I don't care.
Wait, there are reviews out already? I did not know that.
I'm avoiding them. I don't care what the reviews say.
I'm looking at them all right now.
Because let me tell you something. I don't like, this is going to sound really strange. I don't really like Resident Evil 7 on the flat screen, but it's one of my favorite games of all time in VR. What is there? Do you have a number there? Do you have a number score somewhere?
From Metacritic, yeah. It's only 2 points lower than Returnal. It's got an 84.
Oh, okay.
That's the PS5 version. 84 is that's a good game. Like I'm buying this shit. I can't wait.
Are you buying it?
I mean, I might pre-order it right now. I haven't yet, but I didn't. I kind of forgot it came out so damn soon. It's like a day and a half. Okay, I'm buying it. Yeah, this sounds really good.
Excellent. Well, can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts on it. It's the one thing I did hear people talking about over on Discord. By the way, join our Discord, guys. There's a lot of cool cats in the chat right now, but I definitely know that not all of you are over there. The Defunct Bomb Bro sent me a personal message on PSN asking about move controllers. One of his move controllers isn't working properly. And he was like, do you know how to fix this? And I was like, unfortunately, I don't. Like, actually, my launch PlayStation 3 move controllers are still perfect. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got an extra one sitting around from the Desert days. After I bought Desert, his move controllers, I had an extra one because of that. But I've never had to use it. I've literally got a brand new move controller just sitting around waiting for one of mine to break down. But the reason I bring up Defunct Bomb Bro, because he's fucking awesome, his name's Defunct Bomb Bro, is because it's like, dude, anybody who's got a question like that, join our Discord, man. Because instead of just asking me and me be going like, I don't fucking know, man, I'm not that smart, you can ask like 1,000 people at once over on Discord, and like somebody's going to be able to help you out. So definitely join our Discord. The link is in the description. Rody just posted it in the chat. Hopefully the Google mods don't take it down on us again. Also, we got a couple more chats to take care of, or a couple more tips to take care of in the chat. Real quick though, want to give a shout out to Livinator at the VR Chat Show. I saw him in the chat earlier. Make sure you go check out the VR Chat Show YouTube channel. They do all sorts of awesome developer chats, developer interviews. AJ's hosted at least one of them, maybe more.
I was on
two
the
or
last
three.
one, actually. And fun fact, you guys might be able to tell. Here's a little inside baseball. I hadn't slept before we did the show. So see if you can tell that I'm a little deranged.
Which is funny because
I'm definitely on there.
I
I
feel
had
like
a few questions they told me to cut. They were like, nope, you can't do that.
It's funny that you were on that show having not slept, because I feel like we get you on the other side of sleep here on Gamescast Live. I feel like we're pulling you out of bed at 6 p.m. every day.
I'll take a nap, yeah, and then I'll get on the show. Yeah, for sure.
Adam M with the $5 tip says MMORPGs are ripe for the picking in VR. Fuck yes, I need one of those. And I've never been into them either. I've never solidly gotten into one. I've always wanted to get into one, and in VR I totally will. He goes, it's getting better, but I'm still waiting on that killer app VR MMO. Heard of anything? I mean, like, so here's my question.
The one that I know that people like to play is what is that one on Quest? Orbis VR. Apparently, if you get into that, that's like a pretty solid MMO, but it looks like somebody made it in Rec Room, honestly. And like I bounced off of it, so like it's not going to be appealing to everybody. But as far as I know, that's the most popular one right now that a lot of people do enjoy. But it's not on PSVR yet, unfortunately.
Well, I'm always a little bit confused about what constitutes a VR or what constitutes an MMO, because like I know people used to call Phantasy Star Online one, but you could only go out with a group of 4 people, right? That's but so like MMO is like massively
hub areas. You could meet up in hub areas and form a team together there, right?
So that's what constitutes it, is being able to meet up with all these group people in a hub, and that's what constitutes massively online.
Well, I think a lot of MMORPGs have quests or runs or raids or something that you do that is just a group of like 4 people, and you're not like, playing with everybody in the world when you do that mission. And so I think there are hub areas where you meet people, talk to them, maybe do trades and stuff like that, and then go with your group and do a mission. That's how I think of an MMORPG.
Agreed. I think I'm with you on that, unless people have a better definition that I'm just unfamiliar with. Zenith and Elysia are both coming, says Livinator, and Zenith is looking amazing, and that definitely has like the Phantasy Star Online vibes that I think I'm looking for personally.
For sure.
Jamie with the $5 tip says, just think, right now there are several studios making AAA VR games that are going to blow our freaking minds, dude. He didn't say that. He just said blow our minds. I was giving it some character.
Put a little stank on it.
What first party Sony studios at Sony do you think? I'm just throwing shit around now.
I can do that
Tornado,
too.
catch.
Look what I have nearby. For some reason, I have a tape measure sitting on my desk. I don't know. I think I was measuring my monitor, but I'm not going to throw this. It's too heavy.
You got to measure it at least once a year, man, just to make sure that it's not getting smaller as you get older.
Shrinking. Yeah. No, it happens. It does happen.
I've heard the nose is one of the two that
nose
keeps growing.
Getting bigger forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the penis also does. Maybe that's just my experience.
Getting bigger forever.
Yeah, forever.
I think it get. I don't know about that. Somebody in the chat, tell us how the penis works.
Yeah. No. Actually, no. No.
AJ would be glaring at us so fucking hard right now.
He's glaring at us from across the screen. the expression his caricature has is the same expression he has right now, laying in bed watching us talk, and out in space fighting aliens. That's the same expression he has over there. Wait, what studios or what studio do you think over at Sony is making a AAA VR game right now?
I think probably London studio, probably a Asobi team / Japan studio, something going on there. I think Insomniac is probably working on one. Mm-hmm. Because we have evidence that they all have done in the past, and we've seen job postings and like little murmurs of like they're working on something over there. There was rumors of a Horizon Zero Dawn thing, so maybe Guerrilla Games is going to get in on it. I don't know. Are they Sony owned entirely? Is
Guerrilla is owned by Sony, if I remember correctly?
Okay, yeah. I mean that would be great too. I think they've everybody in their stable either has done VR or has had rumors about them working on VR. So yeah, for sure.
Dan Kiefer says Resistance VR. I really hope. Yeah, I really hope that Sony gives Insomniac the chance to make a Resistance game in VR. It would be perfect.
James says Polyphony, which of course, obviously, Gran Turismo, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to go with Shades of Grey Matter on this one and say Naughty Dog, because Naughty Dog's the kind of studio that likes to push hardware to its limits, and I think that if you give them the opportunity to make a VR game, I think they're going to blow us away. They're absolutely going to be like, listen, motherfuckers, this is how you make a VR game, right?
I do think, so there's two things I'm thinking at the same time here. One of them is the direction they've gone in is to make, to push the envelopes of like narrative stuff lately. Like Last of Us 2, they're really pushing people's buttons and going outside the box a little bit and doing things that you wouldn't expect a big AAA game to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like killing its main character at the beginning of the fucking game, right? And then you're supposed to like the character that killed him. It's crazy. But I don't know if I've seen a VR game do storytelling that way or that well. And so I wonder if Naughty Dog is maybe going to wait until they think they can do something like that in VR. Alternatively, they made Crash Bandicoot, so a fun little platformer would be fun too. Like, I don't know, do something, Naughty Dog. I'll take whatever it is.
Yeah. I guess my dream would be Sucker Punch actually getting into VR.
Really?
Because
okay, yeah.
I'm not. See, the thing is I have Ghost of Tsushima doesn't resonate with me at all. Like I have no connection to that time period.
It's so good.
But you know me, man. It's like if I'm gonna run around and killing dudes and like doing whatever, like and narratively, like it's just I'm not a period piece kind of guy. I like really like contemporary stuff or sci-fi stuff.
I watch sci-fi or not sci-fi. I watch samurai movies like as much as I possibly can. So like this is my shit. Exactly my shit.
Well, Sucker Punch also made Infamous, and that is contemporary, and I could totally see them making an incredible VR Infamous game. Again, there's so many Sony franchises that have just been sort of left by the wayside. Like we haven't seen Infamous since Second Son, like at almost the launch of PS4. It's been a while. So like let's bring that back. Let's give these IPs back to the studios that work on them, and but maybe no one's interested in playing an Infamous game on PlayStation 5. Right? Maybe no one's just on a flat screen PlayStation 5. Maybe it's like we've sort of done this thing to death. We've made 3.5 games, 3 3/4 games of Infamous, and like we've done it, man. We've experimented with the formula. We had fun, but the only way to make it exciting again is to make it VR and make it immersive. And with the orb controllers, again, I know I've said this, but just being able to like levitate off the ground or fly around or ride those electric lines in VR and feel all of that in the orb controls. I just think it would be a perfect match.
You know what I just remembered? This has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. Where the fuck's that Panzer Dragoon VR game? I want to play that.
Oh, Voyage
I need to play
Record?
that.
Yeah,
I want to play that.
Dude,
I'm
I think they announced that in the conceptual phase. I think they were like, "Here's some drawings, and we just got the license. Look, we're gonna do it. Voyage Record. It says VR." And I think that's as far as they got with it at that point. And then they were like, "Oh shit, it's gonna take us like 2.5 years to do this. We're working with a 12-person team." So we'll see. We'll see. All right, man. Well, listen. Thank you, Dave, for hanging out with me. Thank you, AJ, for letting us talk for once. Sorry.
You know, he's not actually sick, guys. Everybody said we were getting a lot of hate for all the bad opinions we had on the show, and so we decided to.
Did we have bad opinions?
Well, AJ did. That's why we tabled him just for a minute, and then we sent a guy to poison his throat, so he felt sick. So it all made sense for him too.
That's crazy. Looper the Gamecat with a €2 donation says, "I think Quantic Dreams could make a great VR game. I think Quantic Dreams, which are they first party?
I don't know, but I hate David Cage like with fucking passion, dude. That's the biggest blowhard in gaming, I think.
Maybe. Well, next to Peter Molyneux.
He's so up his own ass all the time. It's like insane to me.
But
he's so out of touch. But he makes games that people like. But
getting
Jason,
that was bad.
Jason, Jason.
If you haven't played Heavy Rain, go play Heavy Rain and go try to find Jason in the mall. Press X to Jason. Those games, I think, getting back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about Loading Human having very cool VR moments, I think that a lot of Quantic Dream games, instead of having like rotate the right analog stick a quarter circle to put a plate down on a table, it would be way more fun to just be like, hey, I'm just going to go like put the plates down on the table where they're supposed to be because I've got these cool controllers to do it with in VR. And it would be less of like these little stupid mini games and more of like an immersive adventure. Like, Loading Human wasn't perfect by any stretch. I think it was pretty bad for the most part, but it had cool moments like that. Whereas like this would be cool in a Quantic Dream game. So
it would be ambitious, I'm sure. They'd try to do some storytelling stuff that they were like, no one's ever considered this ever in a game. We're the most impactful organization to ever make a game. I don't know. I just don't like David Cage. But a lot of people in chat do seem to like David Cage games. And, he's popular for a reason, so I get it.
I like that.
Yeah, they could do something.
Yeah.
They should remake that old David Bowie game from the Dreamcast.
Omicron? Yeah, Nomad Soul.
Yeah.
That was good. I tried to play it on Dreamcast, but man, just it ran pretty rough. So I was like, I guess I'm probably not going to play this anytime soon.
Yeah. When David Bowie died, I was doing like a DJ set that was like already scheduled for that night. And so I put on videos from Omicron because there were songs that were only it was at my Dreamcast arcade thing. And so it kind of lined up, right? Like there were songs that had music videos in that game that were like exclusive to that game. And so I was like, let's just watch some of this. They weren't very good and they looked terrible, but it was a nice tribute to David Bowie.
Nice. There was one more question. I keep thinking we're going to end the show, but man, the chat is so good today and keeps bringing up awesome topics. I just want to talk about one more thing. Hookedworm17 says, is it feasible that all AAA Sony titles could have the option to play in VR? Let's go with on PS5 with PSVR2.
I don't know if it's feasible just because some games don't lend themselves to the format the same way and like would require more work to have that option. Like if you're making a first person shooter, that's one thing, right? Like it's already first person. It's already set up for that. And like, if you think about it from the beginning, sure, why not? But I feel like there's still some games that like, unless you go into it from the very initial design phase, thinking there is a VR version, you're going to get a kind of slapdash version. It won't be as good as it could be because it'll just be like, I don't know, like Gary flipping the switch instead of designed to be VR.
Right. I agree. I totally agree. I do think that PlayStation 5, from everything we've been told, is going to make it super easy for things to be brought into VR. But like Dave said, some games just aren't the kind of games you want to play in VR. I said that endlessly about Tokyo Chronos. I was like, that game was a VR game and it shouldn't have been a VR game. And there's plenty of flat screen games that shouldn't be in VR. And that's not saying that like they couldn't be enjoyable, but like just for developers to be able to deliver their vision, I think it's important for them to be able to have the choice and say, well, no, we don't want this to be in VR. This is designed for a flat screen game. Just like VR developers, how much hate do you see every time a developer puts out a VR game? And people on Twitter are like, what the fuck, man? You're abandoning your core audience, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you have a mobile version of this or a flat screen version of this? Fuck VR, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, And so just like those developers don't want to make a flat screen version of their game, they shouldn't have to if they don't want to, or it shouldn't just be like, hey, we're going to flip a switch and make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think we're so set, we're so close for VR to kind of find its footing in the market. And I think we're so close to having so many AAA games. It's just going to be so refreshing to be able to go on the PlayStation Store and be like, hey, Returnal came out this week. Oh, you can also play it in VR. Oh, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil 9, whatever, man. Like all the next Resident Evil games. This came out this week. You can also play it in VR. It's just, we went too long without AAA games, and it was to the detriment of PlayStation VR 1 for it to not have enough AAA games. Even when we saw games like Resident Evil 7 could do it, and could do it really well. Most developers weren't willing to put in the time or effort or money to make it happen. And Sony wasn't going to pay every single one to make it happen. So if they make it easy for developers to do and say, hey, you probably sell an extra couple million of your game just by flipping the switch and doing a couple things behind the scenes, then it's a win-win for everybody, right?
Well, the other thing I'm thinking of is Squadrons, right? When Squadrons came out, I was playing online multiplayer with people, and we'd get in voice chat, and I was playing with randos, right? And, we'd get a couple guys on our team who were just playing flat, or they were playing on a different, platform. And when they'd hear we were in VR, they'd be like, oh, damn, that sounds so cool. Like, what is that like? Like, man, I wish I could be in a headset playing this. Even though they already owned the game, that was a moment to sell somebody on VR. Like the concept of like, maybe there's an escalated version of this game. Maybe there's a better version of this game I could play.
Sirens.
And so it would be good, I think, for games that have that multiplayer aspect to have that in there, just so people can sort of like naturally get the idea in their heads like, oh, the guy I'm playing with right next to me is in a different experience, and that sounds pretty cool because I already like this game, so let's give that a shot, right?
Right.
And I think that's a good way to sell people on headsets, just kind of like naturally.
100%
so
agree.
hopefully they do some of that, yeah.
Yep. All right, guys, time to wrap up the show. This went way longer than we expected it to, but I want to thank all of you for hanging out with us tonight. I also want to thank, man, dude, thank you to all of the moderators, man. Like, working behind the scenes to make sure that the chat runs smoothly, that make sure the Discord runs smoothly, making sure that everybody's having a good time and no one's causing trouble. We fucking love all of you guys. Also, shout out to Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, who retroactively sends me timestamps to add into this show. Right? So awesome, because I just don't have the time to go back and watch the show and do it all myself. So thank you so much to Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, who's doing that. Also, make sure you join our Discord, guys. The link is in the description below. That is a great place to... We just read a ton of viewer takeover questions, and you guys were the topic of today's show. If you want your question to be the topic of an upcoming show, go to the Discord. Join our Discord. I know. If you've never used Discord before, it's like complicated. You're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, right? But basically, the Without Parole Discord is the reason I signed up for Discord, was so that we could do that. And I still don't have any idea of how half of it works, but it's a fun place to hang out. And if you just use it like an AOL chat room, then fucking brilliant, man. Like, it doesn't require much work.
Don't use it the same way Brian uses AOL chat rooms.
What do you mean? ASL. What are you talking about?
Teleports behind you.
Right. You can leave your viewer takeover questions over on our Discord. We have a whole channel just devoted to viewer takeover questions. Just leave it there, and then we go scour that and find some questions for each show. So that's a great place to do that. And so thank you to all the cats who hung out today. Thank you to all the people who submitted questions. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat and contributed to this conversation. You're all awesome. You fucking love all of you guys, even when we don't agree. I love hearing the various opinions. Just because Dave and I are here today doesn't mean that our opinions are right. I think the opinions in the chat were just as valid, if not more valid, than some of the shit we were saying today. So thank you so much for being out there and being part of today's show. We love you so much.
I hope AJ feels better.
He looks wonderful. He looks a little high, but he looks great. Look at him. He's so
better than usual,
focused and attentive.
You know what's so weird? I was cleaning up and getting some laundry together the other night. And I found a black beanie under my desk. And I have never owned a black beanie in my life. And I don't know anybody who came over wearing a black beanie. And I'm thinking to myself, where the fuck did this thing come from? And so I had to immediately text AJ, of course. I was like, dude, did you break into my house last night? What's going on? And he's like, well, I was just looking at the aim controller. I swear I wasn't going to take it. So pretty soon he's going to have 3 aim controllers, because I've already confirmed he breached the door and accidentally, dropped evidence on the way out. And I think maybe the reason he got sick is because he's used to his head being warm. And when he dropped the beanie, in his quick exit, he got a cold. It drizzled on his head. He got very cold.
Donatello wants to remind everybody out there to change your name to something to GameCat. Get creative with it. You see all the GameCat names in the chat. If you want to change your name to GameCat because you love us almost as much as we love you, put hashtag GameCat somewhere in the comments, somewhere, anywhere but this live chat, honestly, so I can find it. And then we'll give you a shout out on an upcoming show. I swear we're going to bring that back. Thank you to all the cats who changed their name in the past, and thank you to all the future cats out there. Absolutely love you guys. Also, make sure you subscribe to Dave at Dave Station VR, doing awesome streams, doing whatever the fuck you want over there. I love it. I love the rebellious attitude. You just need to change the channel name to Dave Station whatever instead of Dave Station VR.
The channel name. I'm not going to change the channel name. It's just when you get there, I'll tell you at the beginning, hey guys, it's whatever I want now. And then if you want to stick around, you can stick around. Otherwise, do your thing.
And if you like everything that AJ said tonight, make sure you go subscribe to him too, because he's got his own channel at PSVR Underground. PSVR Underground. That's it, guys. I think it's time to cue the cat. And say, what's up, everybody? What's up? Thank you so much for coming to this. Hey,
Wait, can I try a few of them?
Sure, yeah, absolutely do. Go ahead, do it.
It actually worked out really well that I did with here. Okay, so here we go. Who else start with? I'll start with Nickly VR. Oh, all right, we got Nickly VR. We got Dan Keeper, Shades, Gray Matter, Off Tour, Jamie, of course, GameCat, Matthew, Lee, Snack, and Snack, please. The media and the big tech are the virus. Daniel Williams, Delirium Drew, VR. Jason Gray Matter again. I might say things twice. You stay frosty. Oh, Willie Go Love Shadows. JT Meow. Oh, Matthew Lee. Tax Big Fun. He's not with me. He's against me. Shades Gray Matter. Shades Gray Matter with the 5. With the 5. Do I hear 10 from Hickax? Hear 10 from Hickax. Decepticon. Just Incredible. Donatello Simon. Hookworm 17. Dan Keeper. JT Money. Now let's ride the game through line. He's pretty good at this, actually.
I was gonna say, this is making me appreciate AJ.
Better. Yeah, bring AJ back, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dan Keeper says, this is where AJ's absence really falls.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I always thought I could do it, but I can't.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very complicated, man. Absolutely. But no, he does it. He kills it every single time. I'm just riding out the chat here. I'm just riding out because we're still watching the outro. Yep. Still watching the outro. I don't know what to do. I feel like we should hold hands and eat a pizza or something. I don't know.
Sure. Hold hands around a pizza.
Hold hands. You should have saved the AJ Beanie story until just now, because now the thumbnail's up and we got nothing to talk about.
Well, we could just end the show like you said we were